Hi there, welcome back to Lilo Crafts. I know it's been a while, but I couldn't wait to share this special project with you. A sweet friend of mine asked me to help create something truly special and meaningful for her daughter-in-law's 23rd birthday. And what a better way to celebrate than with 23 uniquely wrapped gifts. And each package is its own little work of art, and I used all different kinds of paper crafting goodies, tags, handmade embellishments, stencils, ribbons, and even some rickrack. So let's take a closer look at the items, and I hope it gives you a few inspiration ideas for your paper crafting. And this is a sweet carrot. Look at that, and I love the bright coral color, and a friend of mine made that, and then I made this great tag over here, all with multiple layering and even stamping and coloring in with pen. For them, what they're gonna do is write a word on the back or on the front that describes their sweet daughter-in-law, and then she's going to be able to save those on this book ring that I'm going to share with them and put all of the ribbons, right, to attach to it as well, so it creates a beautiful keepsake. This is tissue paper wrapped with lace and a beautiful journaling card with contrasting stitching. I just love that. And this is utilizing some rickrack and then some dried flowers here to coordinate with the wrapping paper, and just a little cut apart from a paper kit. This one is one of my favorites, and I used scrapbook paper. Yes, just scrapbook paper on this, and then I added these ribbons that I tied in a crisscross fashion, and they are organza and see-through, and I love this tag, which has vintage lace, a focal image, and some book page on it. This is just regular old gift wrap paper, but tied with little pom-poms on the end, and a sweet little journal card from a cut apart. Now this is the giant present, and if you would like to see it, it is a vintage quilt, and I have another channel that I started called Cozy Discoveries, and I'll put a link to the video where I hauled this. But look at this paper. This is just paper from the Dollar Tree, and then I stenciled on it with ink. Isn't that so pretty? And then I left part of it like blank on the side, and then I put this ribbon on, so it really kind of creates that dividing spacer. And this is a pocket that I made, layered up with a vellum sticker as well as lace, a focal point, a frame, and then I put a custom made tag on the inside of that bag, which is all layered up. And this is just simple. Look at this one. I just tied it up with some trim and some jute twine, some lavender to pull out the lavender in this paper, and this paper is a digital collection that I have, and I just stitched it together. This one was a free printable, and I have several of these which have scripture, and this says, "When I'm afraid, I put my trust in you," Psalms 56:5. And to that I added some dried floral, and then this is seam binding, vintage seam binding in yellow and white plaid, and I thought that was so sweet. This sweet girl is just learning to sew, so I think, and she appreciates vintage and handmade things. So I think that would be so fun for her. This again is another piece of scrapbook paper and just a little bookmark that I had, and all I did was make a book page bow and ink that and put just a little piece of a flower on that. This is made with packing paper, this wrapping, and I have made this sweet little journal card, and I just stamped that little birdie on some book page, and I cut it out, and I gave it a little step to stand on. I punched 2 holes in here so that I could tie this ribbon in, and added the lace, and then this is kind of like a tie-dyed ribbon, and I thought the coloring on this matched so well with the tag. This one right here has a cute little bunny. Again, my friend who made the carrot, which is Dale of Not Too Shabby Chic. I'll put a link to her channel in the description below. She's making these to sell. And she makes banners too with these. So if you are interested in that, you can reach out to her. And then here is the journal card that I put in with this, which is one of those big Project Life cards. And I just wrapped some paper over it, digital paper that I printed out, and then I layered it all up on the front with lace, with a stamp, with the image, stickled that up, added a tassel and some twine to the top. And so that just tucks right on in there. And this is another one, wrapped with jute, another one of the sweet scripture tags and some flowers. And if you haven't made your journal cards, it's totally okay. This one is 100% just a store-bought piece. And I just added it to that with just a bit of sweet ribbon. And I just think that just makes that pop so much, that yellow and pink. And here is some more scrapbook paper. This tag has a beautiful gold frame that I added to the focal image, and inking and lace. And I used lace to tie this package together. This one right here is so fun. This is from a tablecloth. So I cut that out to use that as the background, and I had this sweet ribbon or trim right here, and this tag I made, this is Tim Holtz ephemera that I layered up, and I added a bow and also some vintage lace and a lot of inking to this. I think that is so, so pretty. And this one, again, I just added some lace for the ribbon and the candles for the birthday, and I also added some rickrack. I just thought, you know, sometimes just adding it even to the bow, you don't have to add it to the whole thing, can add such another wonderful layer. This is some wrapping paper. There's baker's twine, and I've just tied that all up with jute. This sweet little tag, I just glued some little stars onto it and then made this sweet little banner, and then just a hand crunched bow and put another one of those little stars in the middle to coordinate. This one just has a sweet little cut apart on it, but the item in here is for the kitchen, and so I included this little charm of a whisk, and I thought that was so sweet. This is a little postcard that I added on with some seam binding, and this is like edging for a pillow. So I just want you to know, and I've also, you know, incorporated the lace, so you can combine anything. And I thought, you know, to make this paper a little bit different than this one, I just topped it off with a piece of tissue paper all in there. And this is one of my favorites because this has a sweet little chicken. Can you see that girl holding that chicken right there? And then there's eggs, and so they go and they collect farm fresh eggs. They make their own bread, and so I thought this was so perfect, and I just filled up this little basket with some little brown, you know, shred in there. I tied a lot of bows on the side with, again, with that organza, and I used that mint tissue paper to tie in with the mint bow that I put. And this is a paper ruffle that I sewed on there. This comes from a curtain. Yes, a curtain panel that had some embroidery. So I just cut that piece out. I've used the curtain as a journal cover. So I had this leftover piece, and I just tied this with some cream string, and then also just added a cut apart to that. This one is just a sweet and happy scrap of paper. All I did was just go into the edges and ink them and put a little stub punch that I had. I added a few little flowers right there, lace, and I tied that together with some ribbon. And then this one I thought would be so fun to add some of this lacy, ruffly trim that I had, especially since I was using white. And it says, "I love you with an everlasting love." I wanted the unwrapping experience to feel just magical for her, so I played with the texture and layering and mixed the pastels with bold, happy colors as well. This project just really reminded me of why I love crafting so much. It's all about joy, creativity, and making others feel special. I hope it inspires you to create something thoughtful too, even if it's just one gift wrapped with love. So thanks so much for stopping by, and if you like this project, don't forget to like it, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss what's coming next.